Hey everybody, welcome to Wednesday Night Light, where we're gonna push the darkness into the shadows by shining light upon it. We're just gonna got Franz back on here. We're gonna expose some more of the deceptions of the world, bring some stuff into the light, and so thanks for tuning in, and welcome back, Franz.
How's it going? It's good to be here again.
Good, good.
Um, Feels better to try to get it consecutive. So, um, I got put together some slides. Going to go over some of the same pictures we have, and um, yeah, we're going to try to make sense of a lot of everything I've talked. Like I said, the last video, uh, we're going to just go through everything and keep trying to understand um, all the connections. So here I'm going to start off with Seal of Solomon. We've seen this a lot. This is everywhere.
Yeah.
King Solomon, Solomon, Freemasons.
Is that from where you're at?
That's my local. Yeah, that was from our first show when we were showing some pictures of our local town.
Yeah.
Um,
It's funny. I was
and
just
I,
I was at CVS the other night, and they have a book on the town, and I was looking in it, and some of the old photos that I
oh,
was sharing were in there.
it's funny. Yeah, I know those books. I've always been interested in those. You see them all the time. They're like what, maroon and brownish type.
Yeah, yeah. I almost bought it. It was only like $20, but I was like, yeah, whatever.
I used to have a few of them, but I mean they're interesting, but yet they're still uh, historical society cookie cutter.
Yeah, yeah.
um, and I also used this from one of our first shows, the Ancient Order of the Druids. This, the cross, the triangle, the circle comes up so much. I spoke of the Druids, the, how they are the magic, an order of magicians, priesthood of magicians. We've spoken how they get into Hollywood and everything.
Yeah, the
It's,
Queen. They had that wand breaking ceremony at the Queen's funeral. That Druid ceremony.
yeah,
Did you see
and they
that?
I saw parts of it, but yes, and all those ceremonies are a lot more symbolism and significant as well, um, which we'll be talking about how they inaugurate the king or the queen in, and how they always have. Um, I've shown you lots of these. This picture here, I showed this before. It's the sacred design for Washington D.C. All the triangles, sacred geometry.
So that layout is in Washington.
Yes, sir. This is the exact layout without the street design. We'll lay it over.
Okay, gotcha. Oh
So it's
yeah,
kind of thrown on its side here. And the black square, this is the White House.
gotcha.
Just multiple, but just overlaid it, kept just a few of the symbols simple. And this is the layout without it. You can see, you could pretty much flip the pentagram, the star,
Yeah.
over anywhere you want. Um, and this is part of the reason why I will show you maps, pictures of maps, a bird's eye view, um, because you'll find layouts like this all over the world. And again, I'm showing you that all that symbolism is in the road layouts. This symbolism is in everything.
So that's got to be able to like. They must draw power. You know what I mean? That's got to have some kind of like power they draw from it being laid out like that with the people going down the lines, and it's got to do something.
It would be, imagine it mechanical, like a clock cross sundial calendar.
Yeah, so you
Um,
think in Washington, like all the people going down all those paths and the hustle and bustle, like that energy
yeah,
going down the lines
absolutely. Yeah,
charges
I mean,
it?
I when they invented cars, I don't think it was their initial idea, but like you said, they started off walking and uh, driving horses or a car. So when you're spelling out an incantation with symbols, you take your route to drive in your car to work in any city, and all these cities that have them, your route going around roundabouts and corner streets, you're spelling out the symbols, you're
That
drawing
would
them out. And if you could just watch traffic, it's just traffic is nonstop, so it's nonstop moving symbolism through
that
them
would
acting.
explain a lot of the one-way streets too. They could divert you to do exactly the
They
path they
don't
want.
want it reversed.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now get this. So I have this theory of um, you're more of a susceptible being when you're driving your vehicle. Okay, because you're you, but then you get in your vehicle and you drive. Okay, so you don't hit the curb. You know how big your car is. You look behind you and you back up. You know how far you have until you hit something. Your senses become an extension of that vehicle. So together you become car man.
Yeah. I'm with you, man, because
Literally.
it changes me when
Literally.
I get in it. Like I'm a different
It
person in my
changes
car.
everybody. Yeah. Why do you think people road rage?
Yeah.
It's not a joke. I mean, they can just and certain frequency be just go through radio stations, and you're not even tuned into a radio station, but it's coming through. You're more susceptible for to be inhabited and have your internal monologue uh, subject to anger thoughts. You think it's you, but it's not. You're more susceptible to having that happen because you become car man. And it's just crazy to think, but I strongly believe it.
I heard a prophetic ministry once talking about they were trying to bring down this priest, and this wizard threw a snake on the ground and it turned into a jeep. And they said that this is what they are in the spiritual realm, that vehicles are actually serpents and stuff, that they're not what we think they are.
Absolutely,
I
they're
was
not.
like, that's
And
nuts, dude.
and I could totally agree with that because, like I said, you feel to the end of your fingers, but when you get in the car, your feeling sensors go to the end, the corners,
Yeah.
and you become man car. I mean, it's the same. I believe it's the same conditioning as these ghost shows. I don't believe the whole soul is wandering around stuck in the last moment. There might be a memory, the energy of a memory residue, but that's just there. And then a demon in the spirit realm that is just energy can attach to that energy. So if somebody that is sensitive, as we would mainstream call them psychics, sense, oh, this is somebody from the 19th century because the negative energy, the negative spirit is latched onto it. So you identify it as that. It gains more power and comes through as memory residues. Because it even says in the Bible, the only thing you take with you is your memory and your experiences.
Yeah.
I've experienced a lot. I might drop a few on the way, just,
Yeah.
and it's like, off subject, but like the videos we saw, the COVID babies,
Oh yeah.
they're being born. They're being actually now have somehow crossed into the ability to be born into the flesh, not grab a hold of so many of that memory residue until they become strong enough to meet a psychic. per se, and pass through them,
Let me.
and maybe go ahead.
I just wanted to tell the viewers what we're talking about. So earlier this week, I sent Franz a video of pandemic babies, and I told him to do a search on YouTube. And so, if you guys want to see what we're talking about, just search pandemic babies, and you'll see exactly what we're talking about. Like, these babies are coming out, not even 24 hours, holding their
Umbilical
heads
cord
up,
cut.
looking around, like standing up, walking at 3 months old. Like, this stuff's unheard of. But they said at the end time, like, demons are being born to humanity, and I think it directly correlates with the jab.
I believe it does too. I mean, it everywhere you hear in the mainstream conspiracy theory is it alters your DNA, RNA, DNA. Well, maybe they put out versions that would harm you,
Yeah.
and other versions that were placebos, just nothing, and then versions that would mix with your DNA. And if you weren't, it wasn't aborting. It's creating these built different, as the compilations will say, and they're literally infants with the umbilical cord cut, laying on their stomach, and then lifting their head up.
Yeah.
Wide black eyes, looking around, moving their mouth.
That's unheard of,
It's
man.
unheard of.
Yeah.
It's insane, and that's the demon spirit in energy, you know,
Yeah.
crossing over into the physical realm. Because I mean, like you just said, it's biblical. It's end times.
Yeah,
So
demons are physically being born into this world right now. Like straight up, actual
straight up,
demons. Yep.
no joke, not a joke at all. Um, they're not built different. They're not human.
They're not
So
human. No. No, you look at them and they're like, dude, they're not human. You
and
can
and
totally see
and
it.
and back to prove that point. Well, step back a few things. And ghosts, they say that they sense that person they sense from the 1900s, but yet there's another darker here. I sense that it's not a human. It's it's energy that's getting stronger, and they're making it stronger. Um,
Yeah.
all the way back to the Druids. It's what they did. That's what the magic they did. Um, so I'm going to go back one slide to get us back. All the symbolism here. You can overlay any one of these onto map layouts. And where was I? I was saying we were all over the world, cities, multiple cities. And this is infrastructure from a couple hundred years ago. Um, they make you believe that the cities were just developed as they went, but they're not. You can lay a seal of Solomon over any city and find it. Uh, this one is another one to prove, because you would look at it and not know it's Detroit and think it's part of the Washington D.C. that I just showed you.
Yeah, it looks just like it.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, if you can't see it, then I don't know. And that's exactly what's in it. There, I showed this symbol in one of our first videos. This is doubt. This is the symbol of the underworld. And I mean, just look at the middle dot. Now imagine looking down bird's eye view of any city with a roundabout.
You know what else it looks like, man? It looks like a
But
sand dollar.
it really does, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's the Sanskrit. This is
Yeah.
their carvings of it.
They had rims
Yeah,
back then?
it's like these are spinner rims.
Yeah. Some spinners, man.
It is. It's funny. It looks like a couple Patrick Stars too. They must have had SpongeBob back then.
Yeah.
And again, other repeat pictures.
Oh, so I
This
gotta
is
tell
not.
you this, dude. Oh, you got that. Sorry, I keep interrupting you, but
No, go right ahead.
So I was looking at this, dude, right? And I'm glad you got one here with the G on it, which stands for Gayatu. But the if you look, I can't see, you can't see my finger on the screen, but if you look where the point comes down at the bottom of the square, that would be the middle point of a W. So if you look on it, there's an upside down W. It looks like an M, right?
Yep.
So you got your
Yep.
G for George, then you got your W
No.
for Washington, right? Telling you, man.
No. Now I'm gonna escape this now. Um, see, because you're absolutely right. I cannot believe I never thought of that. Not once.
Yeah, I was looking at it the other day. I'm
I
like, dude,
maybe
that's George Washington, man.
I've shown a picture of that gold statue of him. Now I have to dig it out.
Oh yeah.
I'm totally going to prove you right because that's exactly what it is. Can you see?
Yeah. Can you zoom in on it? Yeah, there you go.
There's the square and the compass on his neck,
Yeah.
and a gavel like he's the judge.
Yeah, dude.
The apron.
And
This is George Washington.
he birthed this country, you know? That's Horace.
Yeah,
George Horace
absolutely.
Washington. Yeah, man. So that's crazy, right? Totally is George
Did
Washington.
you did you know that there's a George Washington Vanderbilt?
No, but I believe
We'll
it.
get into him.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He's one of the Vanderbilts behind the scenes of the country. Um, but yeah, we're focusing now just on, well, like Jerry just said, the points, the triangles, um, and we're repeating it because the more you look at it, the more you notice other things and where they show up. Um, I can't help but look at peaks of houses or buildings without thinking of the compass, the point of the compass on the top.
Yeah.
Again, there's the compass, the George Washington. This is Prince Hall Freemasons. I pointed this out too. This is actually, I think, in Detroit.
Dude,
They're
all these
all
people totally misled this people, man.
they're all misled. These are all 33-degree Masons.
Yeah.
Nelson Mandela. Um, the names are blurry.
That's Richard Pryor at the bottom.
Richard Pryor, yeah. But there's a lot of history about how um, influential black people in general,
They have their
is
own.
a
They have
hidden
a
history.
They have a secret society too. Man, I forget what it's called, but like Jay Z and
Oh, I forgot
like
about
they're
too.
all part of it. Um, Man, I'll never think of the name of it, but
Yeah,
there's a Black Freemason society. Like it's
yeah. It's not just a chapter or
right.
built like the Detroit chapter. It's their complete own. I know what you're talking about. And I can't
Yeah,
think of it, but it's what's crazy is that chapter is just as old as Freemasons themselves.
yeah.
There's a whole Black history that is just victim of erasure, gone. Uh, and again, with this another Freemason, and this is in Israel. It was Solomon's Pillar Lodge. I've showed you this picture.
Is that the IRS?
Nope. This this is the federal courthouse in Israel. Outside of it, you got your pyramid, the All Seeing Eye, and the
Yeah.
pillars. We talk a lot about pillars. I don't personally have like an architectural thing for pillars everywhere, but you know they do.
So in the Bible, I mean, I kind of made this connection like a while back, but I was like listening to a show and it reminded me of the connection. But in the Bible, it speaks of the one-eyed shepherd, right? And so when you start thinking of the Illuminati, dude, and the eye at the pyramid and the eye on the dollar, right? That's the false shepherd. Jesus is the shepherd, the good shepherd. But the
100%.
one-eyed shepherd is the bad shepherd, right? And so that's Illuminati. They're all governed by that one eye. And no, I'm not Illuminati because I covered my eye up.
You're that's 100% correct. Um, and like I've been saying about how many things have been hijacked, and you know on our history timeline have been fed to you as a certain thing, but it's actually a cover up of another thing. Um, it's just patterns. You go look through everything, and here's how. This is the federal courthouse in Israel, and I underlined the pyramid sunken into the roof.
Yeah, I wonder why they sunk it in there.
I don't know. I wonder if it's on something where it can like retreat down. You know what I mean? They can bring it down into the building. I don't know, but it's for a rooftop
Do you
that
think that's
nobody
a
goes on.
do you think that's a capstone and like it goes down into the building?
It could. I mean, that building's huge,
Yeah,
so
it's big.
that pyramid's huge. Like you could probably park 4 cars in that because
Yeah.
there's here 3 down here in the parking lot,
Yeah.
and that thing is just as big as those 3 in line.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty crazy of a architecture feature for a federal courthouse in Israel.
So my mom just met this woman and she said that she knows a bunch of Freemasons and they're good Christians.
Hmm.
Oh my goodness, man. Uh,
Freemason isn't a Christian.
no, I know. I was like, oh
You,
man.
it's that's ridiculous.
Yeah, but the thing is, dude, is
But the thing is that there's so many levels of it, and and the first levels of them are just, I'm sorry, the clown shoes. They're doing things for the community, but they're just being brainwashed, cookie cutter, commercialize the name of it.
right when you get
You
up in
have to
the
go. You have to go through that to actually prove to them you get chosen if you show signs of being worthy of becoming an initiate.
right and when you get up in the higher ranks, you're expected to be part of the Catholic priesthood, and like they love
It's
that.
part of their oath, part of their oath. It's in
Yeah,
the Jesuit oath too. Like you swear an oath to infiltrate and demise. You both could have your swear your oath on the same day. One could leave and go to a Jewish synagogue, and the other one could go to a Catholic church, and they both look like world leader enemies on the world stage. And they will play that and go right to the death. So that's what you see, but they're really doing it for a greater plan because they're being told to.
yeah,
And you don't just go be a Freemason. Those low level Christians that think they're following Christianity or Catholics and still being part of this humbled man organization that does good things, they're just patsies.
yeah. The first initiation, you have to like swear an oath to like some false god.
We'll get in. Yes. Yeah, it's crazy.
So yeah, I mean, only people on the outside think they're Christians. Not nobody in there, I wouldn't imagine.
And it's funny you said the IRS building
Oh yeah, there it
because
is.
that's exactly what comes up. Because here's a IRS building in Maryland, and I've showed you these pictures before. The whole "We the People," and like I said, the bottom represents the 99% of people, and that top white triangle represents the 1% that controls us all. They sit on top of us all.
So that ought
And
to make
why
everybody
is
feel good
this?
about the new 87,000 IRS agents with handguns, right?
Yeah, because now that 1% little triangle put, a tiny sliver on the top to come shooting at everybody.
Yeah.
I, I'm not saying they're gonna come just shooting you, but yeah, it's for the better. Like we're actually doing good because they're gonna look at all those super all ultra wealthy people who
Yeah.
do $600 transactions.
Yeah, the middle
Like,
class.
yeah, I'm like billionaires walk around with $600 as pocket cash. I'm just saying. So, but we're on this IRS building. It has the pillars, and so much of this building looks like other buildings. And the pillars, bows and judges.
What are those symbols around the outside? Is that like zodiac stuff?
Yes, um, and that's the same zodiacs on that sign you said was like I've shown it a few times. It has everything in it.
Yeah.
The zodiacs are all on the outside. That this first thing you're going to think it represents the calendar, each time of the month. But again, it's symbolism in their language. And
Is that the
I,
Pleiades?
yeah, exactly.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
well, everywhere, right? Two pillars.
Mr.
Pillars.
Antichrist himself.
The two pillars. He's just saying two or peace. Peace. Two pillars.
Peace, man. He says peace when there isn't any.
Or wait, is it just two fingers
Oh,
together?
is that
Because that's what
Obama
I
too?
see when that's I that's what I see.
Yeah.
There's just two fingers up, right?
That's what he looks like in the spirit realm.
Uh, he actually looks a little more handsome like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so again, we've shown you this symbol quite a bit. It's just on just about every picture, the last few pictures I've shown. And
Yeah. Google Play Store.
same symbol. Now, think about this. Everything I said about the maps. Are you driving along the Goat Head route?
Yeah. Supercharging Lucifer.
And then there's nothing but a nonstop stream of traffic. Always, constantly moving, spelling it out.
Yeah, and I bet you nowadays they make like footpaths and stuff to get like
They do.
human
I
energy on certain links.
You're 100% correct because there's cities that don't distinctively stand out when you're looking at the bird's eye view. But if you zoom in and find parks, the parks are they're miniature versions of them, and you're walking in. You go to a city and have a huge. Look at all the great parks. But when you look at a bird's eye view of it, you realize you're spelling out pentagrams. And this is the same thing. I mean, it looks like a famous picture. Da Vinci, Leonardo da Vinci. But this was his hidden geometry within that picture.
Yeah.
And, remember what I said about Da Vinci and Le Bourdieu,
Yeah.
how he painted them in Jesus' liking. So again, here's Obama's signature.
Did you see what he wrote on the new the One World Trade?
No.
It's he wrote, we we rise, we rebuild, and we something www basically,
No, of
six
course.
six six, right? And then signed it with his, and that signature, man, who has it matches a signature of like an old, I don't know if it was Nero or very similar um, type of signature. I'll have to do a little investigating on that, but I will bring that to you guys
Yeah,
the next time.
I vaguely heard of what you're talking about. No, I probably want to go looking, but um, when I looked at this, my eyes focused on the square edges in a circle, and then the first letter. But I also threw his peace sign name in there because he's all peace, two fingers up. But let's look at this picture again, but keep in mind his B. So let's take that B down and put it at the bottom and the square edges in there. It's just too. I'm just connecting weird things going on in my way. But
So, do you know
when you
the
think,
Obama's an acronym for one big ass mistake, America? That's what it means.
it's funny. I got this picture of him laughing.
See, he knows the joke. Look at him.
He does look know the joke, because people say you're crazy. You're making all these crazy connections and laughing.
Dude, he
Yeah,
did one
who's
interview
laughing?
where he was totally telling people basically that he was the Antichrist and that that no one would ever see it coming. And they're all
No
laughing.
one
And he
ever.
even said, "Oh, you laughed, but you'll never see it coming."
Just like this, he's laughing at that right now.
Yeah.
And it's funny. You can see Lincoln in the back, right?
Oh
His
yeah.
head's down. Never seen him with his hanging his head.
Yeah,
Is he
Casey
shamed?
from uh, Enter the Stars has been doing a lot on Lincoln and Trump, but he's making a lot of connections with Lincoln lately. It's been good.
Yeah, I'll have to watch that. I've looked at Lincoln a few times on another video on how they reuse people and characters in their names. Um, but that'll go along with talking about George Washington Vanderbilt. Um, but here, Padusha is part of his joke and what we were just laughing at because he's really got you to believe you won't see it coming. It's a great guy with the Pope that has a Kadusha that's on the Antichrist, the Baphomet's waist.
Yeah.
So this is what I
Oh
see. That's who's really
yeah,
laughing at
there
you.
you go. That's a real likeness you got
and
there.
I think it's a little better than the original,
Yeah.
as it took his makeup off.
Yeah.
But then it makes me look at what Lincoln in the back. Now, was he hanging his head in shame, or is he forced to bow down?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Our history is not what we think.
No, oh, man, I still want to go into Lincoln right now, but we'll say that it's completely a different video.
Yeah, we could do a
Um,
whole video on presidents, man.
and, yes, um, this picture is initiates, um, and there's Baphomet over him, and he's sitting on the egg. They're actually carrying him. And these mainstream cookie cutter, you would know them as the Knights of Templar, but they're really the Knights of Malta. Who are they? Well, they're everybody. They're everywhere. Maybe they're the IRS.
Knights of Malta. Man, I feel like I've been hearing about them lately.
You have. They've been around a long time. That's another video. I was trying to squeeze them in, but like I said, I'm trying to focus and go over same things. I don't want to throw too much information at you because it is a lot. But we will get into them and how they're related to everything we've been talking about. And there's the We the People. That's in front of the IRS building. Coming up, that's on the back of your dollar bill.
72 bricks.
1776.
Yeah, and there's
And
17
the bottom.
bricks. They represent fallen entities.
And I pointed out that the Brotherhood of the Snake has stolen that. But along with a lot of things being hijacked, before it was ever our great seal on our dollar bill, it was the great seal of the Moorish nation.
Ah, Islam.
And right, they're Israelites. They're from Jacob's lost tribes. And their history also is victim of erasure. They, other than few things that I've mentioned and I've dug up, is a few hundred years in Spain. So that brings me to the new bit of information that I want to bring into this video. This is a picture of the coronation chair. This is the chair that all kings and queens, Scotland, Ireland, England, have been inaugurated on, the coronation. And you can see underneath the chair,
that's what I was just looking
the
at.
stone. that is the English, the British, they call it the Stone of Scones, or the Stone of Destiny.
That's what you were asking me about last week.
I was asking if you knew, what do you know, what you know about the Destiny Stone, the coronation stone. So this is a replica, and the arrows are pointing out that the legs, the feet, are golden lions. And the last video I pointed out that I believe the lion has been hijacked. And to me, the way this chair is sitting on the backs of the lions, it's the people, the rulers who hijacked that are sitting on the backs. We're building ourselves on your foundation, on you.
Crushing us.
But then when they display the lion as they hijacked it as their coat of arms. People believe that it's Jacob's pillow stone. And Jacob had a dream in a cave that he wound up calling Bethel. His dream was about going to the truth of God. Parentheses, Jacob's ladder. After traveling to heaven in his dream and learning the truth or divine wisdom or whatever, he anointed the stone with oil and made an oath to God. I'm going to exit out because I found kind of like a little timeline how it's in the Bible. It talks about Jacob's pillow in Gen 28. Jacob puts his pillows on a rock, dreamed of a ladder to heaven. He set up the rock for a pillar of witness, anoints it with oil, naming it Bethel. He also names the place Bethel, house of God. God validates Jacob's Bethel name and anointing. Jacob changes his name to Israel. Then God reconfirms his promise. Jacob again anoints and names the place Bethel. The stone of Israel. The shepherd is passed on to Joseph. Okay, I'm not going to go through all the rest of them, but that talks about the pillar. I don't know if you want to add in, Jerry, about that. Anything of the scripture of it?
No, man. I mean, that pretty much sums it up about the stone. I don't. It just talks about other stuff that was going on with Jacob and his visions and stuff, but about the stone, that pretty much wraps it up. That up.
Does and the more details I'm going through and presenting is their version, their story, their outlook. But when I thought of this, that was wrote by Hermes, I felt like their version was a mirrored story. The sleep of the body becomes the awakening of the soul, and the closing of the eyes, true vision, and silence becomes impregnated with God. This happened to me when I received the supreme authentic word. I became God inspired. I arrived at truth. Wherefore I give from my soul and whole strength blessing to the Father. That is Hermes. So in their version, Jacob goes on to have 12 sons. This becomes the lost tribes of Israel.
That's what it is.
But yet there was, right, there was 13 tribes because Joseph had 2 sons. Joseph didn't have a tribe. Jacob, after changing his name to Israel and proclaiming like Hermes that he went and talked to God, and God gave him all the truth and the powers, and he's gives up to him. And this was the stone he had his head on when he had this dream. Then he validated the 2 sons of Joseph, and they started their tribe.
Yeah, the 13th tribe was the tribe of Dan.
I'm sorry, right? Yeah. So I mean, but in their version, that's how they believe it.
That's Obama's tribe. 13.
And I believe that's the tribe, and they worship this stone.
And their emblem is a serpent.
Just like Thoth, Hermes, Trismegistus.
Yeah, that's George Washington, man. Yeah.
And all the symbolism and all 3 of these different characters all show up in everything we've shown you, from hospitals to architect to road layouts, right? And that is where these guys come into the Bible. All right, so now the stone is protected by the sons of Israel, the tribes of Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel. They worshiped. I don't know exactly which ones of them, but they kept this in Israel for 1,000 years, and it went to Egypt, which has stayed there for quite a while, and then went through to Gibraltar. Does that name sound familiar?
Yeah, we talked about that last time.
Right. Gibraltar with the 2 pillars.
Yeah.
Which is a British-owned little point of Spain.
I wonder if that's Boaz,
the Pillars of Hercules.
And, what you call it?
Jazz and Boaz.
Yeah.
Of course it is. I mean, just because it doesn't have the tops there, but yeah. And this is where you can find the only bit of Moorish civilization and their attributes to the world, the whole globe, was architect. It's them that had global architect all over the world. They have the oldest castle in Gibraltar. oldest castle made by man in the world by the Moorish people in Gibraltar.
I'd like to see
No.
that thing.
It's left of what's, um, I say the ruins, but that one part looks pretty good. So I'll show you on the map. Right. This is Gibraltar from the Gibraltar International Airport. That is all owned by the British, by the Royal Crown. Right in the center is the Moorish Castle.
I like castles.
What's that?
I said I like
You like
castles.
castles?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. I think there's more to them than everything. There's more to everything in our history. So as I was tracing the coronation stone, Jacob's pillow, the stone of scones, from Egypt. It was used successfully for centuries by European monarchs in their enthronement ceremonies. The Stone of Destiny was transported to Ireland by Princess Scada. She is the eldest daughter of Akhenaten and Nefertiti.
Okay.
She fled Egypt after her father was overthrown. Yes. Okay. She marries a Babylonian that traveled to Egypt after the fall of the tower. Those two went to Ireland. This small, short, I just drew a blank. What's the word?
Obelisk?
Obelisk. Thank you.
Yeah.
So this is an Egyptian obelisk with Egyptian hieroglyphs that represent Skada, the eldest daughter of Akhenaten. And this is in Ireland, and the arrow on it is pointing to her grave.
So that's
This is during
Go ahead. Sorry.
times when it was all oral history, and you don't learn this until you have to learn through the local Ireland local history. Just like how indigenous Indians, Native Americans, what you will, all their history was told. Or maybe the story of Skada was purposely not told. But so an Egyptian princess marries a Babylonian, and they live in Ireland. And this rock circle is what the obelisk arrow is pointing to. This is actually where the legend of Skada and her husband, they're buried. The Babylonian that she married studied languages. And here, jump right into a little bit of a royal family tree. You'll see they use a lot of names over and over again. They change their names to a name they use all over again. You think all the Charleses was named Charles, but I just wanted to point out Scotland, England, King Charles, Scotland, England, and then we get into Scotland, England, Great Britain, and then from the House of Stuart. There are Stuarts in here: James Francis Edward Stuart, Charles Edward Stuart, and these are all the royalty from remarkably different countries that went through Renaissance periods and revolutions, and all different, but they're all related, and they all took their turn sitting on top of Jacob's pillow in the coronation chair. And they birthed the House of Stuarts. I've talked about them quite a bit from the beginning. Right. Charles II of England, Scotland, and Ireland was from the House of Stuart. And why do I go from to the House of Stuart? Because of Jacob's pillow? Because the word Stuart comes from the old Nordish root svart, which means black. Stuart is the same word as swarthy, which means black in Old English. It was a line of Stuarts, kings of England. Charles even was wrote about as having a dark complexion, black hair, and dark brown eyes. He was nicknamed the Black Boy. He did, like I said at the beginning, that's why I put up the Freemasons, the black branch of the Freemasons. There's all kinds of popular people that your perception is altered. This is James Francis Edward Stuart. On the left is the real painting. On the right is your distorted perception.
Yeah, it looks like they Michael Jackson'd him.
Huh.
Turned
I
him
thought
white.
he's the only one that ever did
Right?
that. Oh, man. Yeah, it's definitely an old school. So, putting all these things together from the House of Stuarts, all the royalties from all those different countries, all taking turns sitting on the chair. It came from a cave called Bethel. It was anointed. Okay. To me, it sounds like it's more the royalty that becomes given. Sell your soul and you become a king. You can change your name and you could be Charles VI. You do? You want to sign that contract? Sit on the pillow. Sit in the initiation chair if you want to become an initiate of a royal secret society.
Yeah, I think I'd rather stay me.
Well, I mean, it just stands out to me because it's one stone from Israel went to Egypt, through Gibraltar, to Ireland. It was stolen. It was kept in Westminster Abbey, and it was stolen from Westminster Abbey. After the King of England had a war, quote unquote war, with Scotland and Ireland, and took the stone back and kept it in Westminster Abbey. It was given back to Scotland, and it's now in Ireland. It was given back in 1996. And ironically, I found that to be funny because a year before that, you may remember a movie that gained worldwide attention on a certain person painting his face blue and fighting for the Scottish freedom of the King of England.
Yeah, you know what?
Braveheart?
I've never seen that
Mel
movie.
Gibson. It's just the conditioning to hide up. I mean, it's symbolized. The movie on mainstream symbolizes them breaking free and becoming themselves. But when I track the
Uh-oh. Did we lose you? Oh, there. Breaking up. It's slow. I think we got a bad connection going on. I think we're being hijacked by the enemy.
Probably.
Oh,
it's probably because we're so far off the truth.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they don't like that, man. They don't like that.
Same thing. It's like a drive-through window. I'll get your order, or they'll just not. But yeah. So I mean, feel free to look into this. I would, find out for yourself. But I no longer, after researching and following this stone, I no longer call this corn.
man.
chair, be it into a secret society. And the secret
Yeah, man, you're frozen in time, brother. See if you come back here.
on our backs weighing us down.
Oh, that.
Oh no.
You're that, now you're back again. Boy, they're really hammering us, man. Oh, frozen again, dude. Dang.
It was the end of my slides.
Okay, you're getting like bits and pieces of you. Oh man, what a bummer. This is what YouTube does to you, man, when you're getting the truth
I'm
out.
sorry. All
They
right, so
they back? Yeah, this stinks.
can you hear me? Hello?
I can
Is it
hear you.
working?
Yeah, now I can.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. But it
All
only.
right, good. Well, that was the end of everything I wanted to present.
All right. Well, that was pretty good, man.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, so we're back.
I think I think so. Oh, oh, dang. He's gone now. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. This is what happens when you share the truth. They like to shut you down, mess with your connection, break it all up. So, oh, here he comes. He's jumping back in here.
I'm coming back.
All right. I was just giving a sayonara, but yeah, come back in and give some last words, man, if your connection can be on.
All right, yes. I mean, because I got all my presentation. I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, so I'll go back because there was just one thing I wanted to end it with after all that. Bear with me 1 second.
Yeah, man.
So I ended with letting you know that the coronation chair is the initiate chair. And that was the end of the new information I wanted to present. Um, if you guys are enjoying, I'm going to continue with recapping and slowly bringing in new images or new symbolism and just continuing to go over it. It makes more sense the more you look at it. But I wanted to end with this little exercise for you. I think it's the closest thing I can come to proving Jay's theory on language created for magic. I agree with it. And so let me walk you through this before I freeze up and we get all crazy again. So the meaning of the word spell, you get your definition and it'll tell you, spelling words. But if you look up the meaning of spell, a spoken word or form of words held to have magic power, a state of enchantment, a strong, compelling influence or attraction. Spell. Okay. Now, let's look at it this way. You use letters to
Oh man, they're hammering us. I don't know if we're going. They're hammering us again, bro. They do not like this at all. use letters to spell words, you use words to spell sentences. You speak the sentences with proper grammar. They gonna let him come back? I don't think they're gonna let him come back. Oh, he left again. See if he jumps back on. I know he probably wants to make his point really bad, so he probably will come back on or try to. I'm sure he doesn't want to leave on a glitch. So let's give him a minute, and if he doesn't come back on, then I'll just wrap it up. But thank you guys for tuning in. It's always a pleasure bringing you guys some good stuff, and thank you for being in the comments. We love you too, you guys. It's really awesome to have you guys tuning in and listening. I don't think he's coming back, but thank you everybody who made it, and thank you everybody who's gonna watch this live stream at a later time. We appreciate all the support. We love you guys, and just stay well out there. Be safe, and God bless you all, alright? Love you guys. Take care.